Good to go. All right. So let's start our notes. You guys already titled your notes? You guys already titled your notes absolute value? Sweet digs. All right. So what I need you guys to do is get a number line onto your paper. Don't worry about writing down integers. Just get a number line on your paper, a number line with 0 in the middle and just a couple of hash marks. You do not need to copy mine. That's too extensive. Just get a number line, 0 in the middle, and a couple of hash marks on either side.
I put in there.
Okay. Don't do that. Yeah, just erase that. Or just turn the page. No. Just next time we'll do it. I don't care how many hash marks you have. Just get a number line, top of the page. Now we already know the definition of integer because, well, we did it on Monday. Definition of integer is a set of all whole numbers and their opposites. We're going to talk about opposites today. What I do want you to do is I want you to identify what the origin, the positive, and the negative portion on your number line are. So you have your 0, you have your positives, you have your negatives. So where's the origin? The origin is at 0. Where's the positives?
To the right.
To the right. And the negatives?
To the left.
To the left. Yes, on your number line. To the left, to the left. All the numbers over here are the negative to the left. You didn't know that Beyonce song? It's called the number line. That's the number line song by Beyonce. Sung to you by Mr. Strand.
Thank you.
I was going to say that's
Okay, so we've got our negatives, which all to the left, right? Negatives to the left. Origin is in the middle, and the positives are on the right. This direction is greater than. This direction is less than. So all positive numbers are greater than all negative numbers, yes?
Yes.
Okay, good. I do want you to draw this. Just make it a little bit bigger and in the center of your page, just or in the middle of your page, just a little bit bigger. Don't make it only one line, make it a little bit bigger. This says positive 5. Every number has two components to it. You don't need to write this down, but make sure you do get the number. The first component is the sign. And that tells you which direction on the number line we're going. It tells you the direction on the number line. All right? So the direction on the number line would be, this would say, all right, I'm to the right, right? Because that's positive. Going to the right. And then this portion of the number is the number portion. And then we call that the magnitude. All right, so the magnitude, that's saying how big it is. So it's saying, all right, we're going to go in the positive direction 5 spaces. That's how we organize. That's what a number is. On the number line, if you organize it out, this is saying we're going to go 5 tick marks to the right. That's what that says. Thanks, Darrell. Okay? So that's a number. So let's identify a couple more things. So let's dig a little bit deeper. Since integers are the set of all whole numbers and their opposites, what are opposites? Give some real world examples. What are some real world opposites? John, give me a real world opposite. There's a lot of them. Fire and water are not actually opposites. You use water to put out fire. You don't use fire to put out water. Ian.
Good and evil?
Good and evil, yep. Huey.
Yes and no?
Yes, no. Zion.
day and night.
Day, night. London. Up, down. Let's get one more. Jackson.
Black and white?
Black and white. These are opposites, right? I'm not sure. Are black and white on opposite sides of the color wheel?
Yeah.
They are? When you have the color wheel, black and white are opposite?
Actually, they're not even on the color wheel.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that one.
They're both not colors.
That's true.
They're technically shades.
But they're both dark and light.
I don't know.
Why would you have center if there was like a circular color? But they're still speed.
I think I'm going to ask an art teacher later today. That's curious. I actually don't know about that one. Anyway,
I never looked one.
what about in math? What are opposites in math? If the integers are the whole numbers and their opposites, the opposites in math are, Jasleen?
Like subtraction and addition maybe?
No, those are are actually what we call inverse operations. We'll talk about that later. Zion?
Negative and positive?
Negative and positive. That is what opposites are in math. Opposites in math are negative and positive. So the way to think about them, the true definition of an opposite, negatives and positives, is absolutely right. We want to write this down. Notice this is a vocab word. So in your notes, you want to make sure that you identify this as a vocab word somehow. Double underlines, or a circle, or like write the word vocab. I don't care. It's up to you how you do this. But we need to write numbers that are the same distance from the origin in the opposite or other direction. So the number that you have, that big number in the middle of your page, is positive 5, right? What would be the opposite of positive 5? A number that has the same distance from the origin, but in the other direction. What would be the opposite? Positive 5 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What would be the opposite of positive 5? Yeah, negative 5. Why? Because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Same distance, other direction. So positive and negative 5. What's another set of opposites? Huey. Negative 3 and positive 3. Here's the example that you're going to write down. I like what Huey said. He said negative 3 and what? Positive 3. He used the words negative and positive. That's something that we're going to want to do a lot. We're going to want to use the words negative and positive. What's this number?
7.
I want you to rethink that. I want you to change that for the foreseeable future, for the next couple of weeks. I don't want you to read this as 7. I want you to read this as, what do you think? Positive 7. And the reason why we're going to do that is it will help us when we're answering a lot of questions moving forward. Is if we can identify this. If it has no sign, it's positive. If it has a plus sign, it's positive. If it has a minus sign or a negative sign, it's negative. Okay. So what does this say? Again, what does that say, Sloan? What's that say, Sloan? Sloan?
Positive 7 and negative 7.
London, your name is not Sloan. Your name is London. Sloan, one more time.
Positive 7 and negative 7.
Are opposite integers. Awesome. Okay? One more vocab word. Because here's the deal. We've got this distance in the same direction. The word distance is important. All right? We need to have a name for that distance. It's called the absolute value. Okay? Distance is tricky. Right? Positive 7 and negative 7 are opposites, right? Because they're the same distance from the origin. That distance is called the absolute value. I'm going to give you a quick example here, right? Positive and negative 5. I'm going to take 5 steps in the positive direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. How many steps did I take? 5. I'm going to go take 5 steps in the negative direction. I'm going to go backwards 5 steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many steps did I take? 5. Wait a second. But I took 5 going that direction, and you said it was 5 steps. I took 5 steps going this direction, and it was 5 steps. Why didn't you say negative 5 steps?
Because you're not like, well, minus 5.
What do you think, Cynthia?
Because you didn't start from the 0 and go back. You started from the 0 and went up and then went right back.
Okay, so now 0 is right here. Okay? This is the origin. I'm going to take 5 steps, go that way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many steps did I take?
Negative 5.
Wrong.
5.
How many steps did I take?
Backwards.
I took 5 steps.
It wouldn't make sense.
It makes sense.
How about this? I live about 2 miles from work. Okay, I live about 2 miles from the school. So I drive 2 miles to school, right? And then I drive negative 2 miles home.
No.
You drive 2.
I drive 2 miles here and 2 miles there.
Yeah.
So, oh girl, you messed up on video. Hi, video people. There it goes. It gets all white, like really, really bright when people walk in front of it. It's all good. I'll cut that part out. I'll cut this part out. Don't worry. No, so what we were saying is, I drive 2 miles to work and negative 2 miles home, right? And you guys were like, no, that doesn't make sense. Why?
You're not driving. Because it's impossible to go negative with not numbers, I guess.
Well, I mean, in the real world,
You can't do.
everybody, I want you negative 10 jumping jacks.
That's not possible.
Okay, I'm doing it right.
You're right. You can't do negative 10 jumping jacks. It's not a thing. In order to have done negative 10 jumping jacks, you have to have already done 10 jumping jacks and then gone back in time and undid the jumping jacks that you. It's not possible. In our world, what do we know about distances? What do we know about distance then? If I take 5 steps positive and I take 5 steps negative, both times, how many steps did I take?
5.
I took 5 steps both times. So what do we notice about all distances? What can they not be? Distance can't be negative. So therefore, what do we know about absolute values? Absolute values can't be negative. All right. So this is how we write absolute values. This says the absolute value of positive 5. That symbol right here, that's absolute value. So this says the absolute value of positive 5. Well, that's the distance from the origin. Everybody on your number line, put your finger on positive 5. Put your finger on positive 5. There you go. How far away from the origin is that?
5.
Good. So what's the answer to this? Or what's the simplified version of that? 5. All right, now put your finger at negative 5.
Oh.
What's the distance from the origin that negative 5 is? 5.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, these are examples. You're definitely writing them down.
This is the easiest lesson.
Good, I'm glad. Let's make it hard.
Wait.
Absolute value are like parentheses. You do not have to write this down, you just need to listen. Absolute values are like parentheses. It's really funny when people start singing, they go, oh. It's really funny. The absolute value symbols are in parentheses, so we do them first. You guys remember PEMDAS?
Yeah.
Parentheses are come first, so absolute values come first as well. So when you see something that looks like this, which part do we want to focus on first?
5.
Which part?
The lines.
The parentheses, right? So the lines, the absolute value. So we have to think about this portion first. We know what that is. What's the absolute value of 5?
5.
So what's the negative absolute value of 5?
Negative 5.
Negative.
Negative 5.
Why? Because the absolute value of 5 is 5, and then we make it negative. Remember, the absolute value happens first. Okay. This one's a little tricky too. Which part do we do first, the negative or the absolute value?
Absolute value.
The absolute value first. What's the absolute value of negative 5?
5.
So what's the negative absolute value of negative 5?
Negative 5.
Negative 5. You see the order that has to happen in? Okay. Yes? You see, I need some yeses or some no's.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So let's do some examples. In your notes, I want you to write examples. And when you're taking notes in this way, you need to also write the instructions down. You okay? You keep kicking my desk that has the camera on it. Stop. Thanks, ma'am.
Okay.
You also have to write the instructions. Because when you have examples and no instructions, you don't know what you're doing. Right? If I tell you what my favorite restaurant is and I give you a map of it, I want you to meet me at my favorite restaurant, right? And I give you a map, and there's no labels, and there's no roads. How are you going to get there?
Is that even a map?
Yeah, it is, because there's a picture of my favorite restaurant on there, on this piece of paper.
You look at the
Can't you look at your phone?
No? You don't know, there's no labels. What is it?
It's a piece of paper. Didn't you?
If you just write down the examples, what are you doing? Like, do you know what you're doing if you just write down the examples? Now, you have to write down the instructions when you take notes. Now, good note takers would be able to read this, find the absolute value of the following, and be able to shorten that. Who thinks they can shorten that instruction for your notes, just to make it a little bit faster moving forward? Jackson?
Find the absolute value.
Yeah, I wouldn't write that part down on my notes, because I want to be efficient. I don't want to have to waste time. Now, let's go ahead and solve these. What is the absolute value of 6? 6. The absolute value of negative 11 and 3/4.
11 and 3/4.
What is it?
11 and 3/4.
Why is it not negative?
Absolute value.
Because absolute value is a distance, so what do we know about all distances?
They
They can't be negative, okay? If there is such a thing as a negative distance, all that is telling you the direction you're going, right? So if I say I took negative 5 steps, what that really means is I took 5 steps backwards. It's telling you a direction, all right? All right, next set of examples, we're gonna do all 3 of these. As you write them down, I want you to do them. So you got your instructions. We have 3 symbols in here that some of you guys might not remember. That's okay. We're going to remember them now. What's that first symbol called? Give me a hand on this one. What's that first symbol called, London? That's the less than symbol. The second symbol is therefore then called
Greater than.
greater than. And Lily, the last one is called equal to. Good. How many of you guys have taken notes like this before? Where you have just a notebook or a lined piece of paper and you have to write what I write? It's awesome. Good. So it looks like a lot of you guys have practiced this. For the people who haven't taken notes like this, that's why I'm going through, hey, write this, make sure shorten this, it'll make it go faster. Okay? So like I said, you're gonna do all three of these. Please complete the problem as you write it down. So write down the problem and then also do the problem. We'll do all three of them before we go over them. Hey, you staying with me today? Your pencil? I got one you can borrow right now. Oh, it just fell off. All right. Here's example number 4. Here's the next one. Think about what you should do first, right, based on what we talked about. So write down the example and then fill it in. Go ahead and do the problem. Well, after you write it down, go ahead and do the problem. Good. I hope so. That's good. This one is tricky. I'm going to be honest with you. This one's pretty hard, and it might be beyond some of you. For the last one especially, use a number line. It might be helpful to see. We already labeled positive and negative on our number lines, and then you hopefully wrote greater than and less than on that number line as well. Which part is greater than, which part is less than. It's a tricky one. All right, let's do some of these. All right, Amanda, you feel ready to do example 3 for us out loud? No? Okay. Tanaya, do you feel comfortable to try this one?
Me?
Yeah, example 3.
No.
Let's give it a shot. What should you do first? This says the absolute value of 8. What is the absolute value of 8? And why do I care? Max?
Absolute value of 8 is 8.
Good. Why do I need to know that? Why do I need to do that first?
Because you can't compare absolute value of 8 to 10.
Yeah, I can compare 8 to 10, but absolute value of 8 is not simplified. I need to simplify that first before I can compare. Now, 8 compared to 10. That's easy, right? 8 is
Less than.
good, so we use a less than symbol. Cool. All right, Amanda, I'm going to call on you now. So, example 4, what should we do first?
Find the absolute value.
Find the absolute value. I can't compare this to this because this is a distance and this is a number. Absolute value, by definition, we wrote it down, says the distance from the origin. How far away is negative 11 from the origin, Amanda? 11. Now compare those. What number is this? Don't say 11. What number is this? Positive 11 compared to negative 11. There we go. So the answer is greater than. All right. Example 5. This one's tough. First things first. What should I do? Hannah Grace?
You do the absolute value.
Good. What is the absolute value of 1/2? Good. But it's not 1/2 though, is it? Yeah, because it says the negative absolute value, right? So it's 1/2, and then you got to make it negative, right? So now we're comparing negative 1/5 to negative 1/2, and that's kind of tough. I say you should draw a number line. Okay, so here's my number line. All right, here's my number line. Here's 0. There's negative 1. It's pretty easy to find 1/2, right? It goes right here. That's negative 1/2. But where's negative 1/5? Is it closer to 0 or closer to negative 1? Ian?
0.
It's closer to 0. So that's negative 1/5. So is negative 1/5 greater or less than negative 1/2? It's greater because it's more in the positive direction. Okay? So it's going to be greater. All right. Last 7 examples. So make sure you write down these instructions. And then 2 more examples. That'll help you budget how much paper space you should use.
I'm ready for a chance.
Okay. Order the given values from least to greatest. So I'll give you a moment to write all those down. Notice there are 2 numbers that are absolute values, 2 absolute value numbers, and there are 5 total numbers. Ah, darn it. I mean, even Kobe doesn't hit them all. Tired. All right, order the given values from least to greatest. What is the first thing we probably should do here? Tanaya, I'm calling on you again. What's the first thing we should probably do here?
Absolute values.
Yeah, we need to simplify those absolute values. So the absolute value of 8 is,
80.
and the absolute value of negative 2 is?
2.
Cool, and then we just bring down the other numbers. Now, what numbers are we going to order? What numbers are we going to put in order? Talal?
Absolute value of negative 2.
No, I didn't ask you to put them in order. I asked you which set of numbers we're going to put in order. Lily. The green numbers or the black numbers? We're going to put the green numbers in order. Which numbers are we going to write in our list? The green numbers or the black numbers? The black numbers. What important word in the definition or in the instructions tells us which set of numbers we're going to put in order? Which really important set of words?
Given value.
The given values. The given values need to be put in order. Lily was absolutely right. We're going to put the green numbers in order, but which ones are we going to write down? The black numbers. Okay? So let's do that. What is the smallest green number, or really the least green number?
Negative 13.
Cynthia? Negative 13. All right, what's the next one? The next green number. London? No, the next green number. 2. However, are we going to write 2 in our list?
No.
Why are we not writing 2 in our list? Huey?
Did you do the given numbers?
The given number, the given value. 2 is not given. What is given, Huey?
Absolute value of negative 2.
Perfect. And now that's gone. All right, let's pick it up. Ian?
5.
Yep. After that,
Absolute value of 8.
absolute value of 8. And finish us out
10.
with 10. Okay. That is our answer. Notice how we put the given values in the order. The green list was just to help us. It was the simplified values. We want to put the given values. The green ones were the simplified. The black numbers were the given values. We'll do the same thing for this list. I'll give you a minute to write it down. There are 7 numbers and 3 of them are in absolute values. This is the last problem we're going to do, by the way. Bless you. Jackson.
To figure out what the absolute value of the absolute value numbers are.
Yeah, so we would call that simplify the absolute values. So do the absolute values. What's the absolute value of negative 22? Kevin.
What?
The absolute value of negative 22.
Negative 22.
We're simplifying the absolute value. What is that? What's it simplify to? No, by definition, absolute value is a distance, and we talked already about how distances can never be negative. It doesn't make sense in the real world for a distance to be negative. So what is the absolute value of negative 22? All distances are positive. So what's the, if you were going to go to negative 22 on a number line, how far away is negative 22 from the origin? Yes, you do. How far away is negative 22 from 0? 22 steps, exactly. All right, the absolute value of 34, Zion Benjamin.
34.
34, the absolute value of negative 7, Rithik.
Absolute value of negative 7.
What was that?
Absolute value of negative 7.
Oh, 7.
This video is taking way longer. About 10 minutes longer than it probably should. Y'all, we need to be looking for patterns. All right, we need to be looking for those patterns. It's been the same thing every time, right?
Yes.
And then we just plug in the rest of them. Let's make our list. All right, which two numbers are obviously the first two on our list? And I say obvious because, well, it should be. Emma.
Negative 19 and negative 14.
Exactly, because those are the two negative numbers. So negative 19 and negative 14. Now we only have positive numbers. Oh wait, do we?
That's wrong.
No, it's not.
Oh.
Which one is more negative?
19.
19 is further to the left on a number line. London.
7.
Nope. We don't have positive numbers yet. Ambrielle? 0. Don't forget about 0. 0's in there. Now we only have positive numbers. Ian, give us one.
The absolute value of negative 7.
Good. Why are we not writing down 7?
Because
Because-
we need to write the given
The
value.
given values. We're using the green list to make our order, but we're using the black numbers to write them down because the black numbers are the given values. These are the simplified values. Let's keep on going. Let's just finish it. Somebody finish it out. Esther, finish it out for us.
16. Did I say all the rest?
Yes, please.
Okay. The absolute value of negative 22 and 34.
And 34.
Absolute value.
Absolute value of 34. All right, and we are donezo. Okay. Do not close your notebook.